Our next presenter is Sia Kamboj. She was an intern this summer with Magic, and it was my pleasure to mentor her. So I'd like to introduce you to her. Sia was a mentee with Magic a few years ago when she was in 7th grade, and she did a great job of her Magic project. So I was delighted that she decided to come back and intern with us. So last year, another intern had made a GitHub website that was archiving past mentee projects. So what we needed to do to that work is to add more features and make it production ready, and that's what Sia worked on. And I'm proud to say it is production ready. It's actually running on our on the getmagic.org website right now. We need to do a little more tweaks to actually publish it, and we will publish it very soon. I'll let Sia talk about all the amazing work she did, but I wanted to tell you two things about her that I found extremely impressive. The first one is the initiative that she takes. So there was this website that needed work, and she just addressed all those gaps that we had identified, but she went above and beyond and added other useful features. The other thing that was impressive about her was her independence and maturity. So I would meet with her every Saturday. She would come in, she would show me what she had done. She had questions. I would give her some pointers, and off she would go and design and implement the next feature. So I actually did very little work. She did most of the work, and she was extremely proactive, and I'm extremely proud of her. And with that, I can't wait for Sia to show you what she's done.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Ira. My name is Sia Kamboj, and I'm a junior in Murrow Catholic High School in Hayward. My mentor is Ira Pramanik. She's originally from India and founded Magic 13 years ago. Currently, she works as a software engineer at Google on the app Socratic. My project is the Magic Mentee Project website, which archives and displays past Mentee projects. It started development 2 summers ago by a Magic intern named Ruchi Kamboj, who used templates from GitHub in order to start the project. And our task was to expand on this and make the code extensible, making it easier for mentees to add their project going forward. And we did that by giving mentees the ability to upload their own projects, and then using PHP to make directories and files based off of what they uploaded. Before, our website was hosted on GitHub. However, since GitHub cannot read PHP, we are currently moving it to the same server and domain as the getmagic.org official website. The form to upload the projects is also password protected to add an additional layer of security to ensure that only people who are approved by Magic can actually add information. So now I'm going to show you various features from the website. The first is on the home page under the Student Projects tab. It's the image carousel, and it comprises of 3 main parts. First is the thumbnail photo, which fits the tone or theme of the project and is uploaded to the mentee themselves. Then is their name and whether they're in middle or high school. And if the user wants to see all the projects side by side, then they click the View All button, which takes them to this page that displays the all projects. And it gives a visual overview of all the mentee projects that have been uploaded. In this case, we have uploaded 7. So if you want to figure out more about a specific mentee's project, then you click on either the image carousel or the all projects page, and it takes you to a website that displays the mentee's information, including their name, an automated moving image carousel, sample code, interview, etc. And this website is actually modular, meaning that there's only one file, but the contents that are within that file change depending on which mentee the user wants to learn more about. And the way that this is accomplished is through the various arrays that we have. It's a little hard to see, but there are multiple arrays for each content that has to be changed. For instance, there's a mentee names array, mentee grades array, and mentee years array. And so every mentee has their own index number in each array. And depending on which mentee the user wants to learn more about, that index number is going to be used to add their project inside the website. So if a mentee wants to upload their own project, then they're going to be taken to the mentee project input form. But first, they're going to have to pass through a login form that's powered by Firebase. The credentials for this are going to be provided by Magic to ensure that only people who Magic has approved can actually access the upload project form. And once they're able to get past that and reach the upload project form, there are 3 main parts that they need to fill out. Their personal information, including their name, their project information, and then files including code file uploads, as well as photos. So the technologies that I learned when I was a mentee in 7th grade were HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I expanded on those this time. And the technologies that I was not familiar with and I started learning during the internship were PHP and Firebase. I initially started using Code Academy to get the general overview of the language, why it's used, and what makes it so different from the others. Then I went on to W3 schools to learn more about syntax, and I kept going back to it for reference throughout coding on the website. I then went to Stack Overflow if I ever had any specific questions about how to integrate a certain piece of code into the site. So some of the highlights from my experience with Magic was learning how to use all of the 4 aforementioned coding languages in a website together cohesively and make an efficient code that is non-repetitive and can be used multiple times. Another thing was familiarizing myself with common coding practices, including putting comments above functions and naming variables very specifically, so that if anyone who is not familiar with your code reads it, they understand exactly what you mean and can start exactly where you left off. Another thing that I loved about Magic that I feel like I haven't gotten from a lot of other extracurriculars that I've taken part in is that they taught me lessons beyond just the project. I learned so many life skills, such as effective communication and organization, and how crucial they are in order to successfully collaborate with someone on a project. Another thing was that when Ira and we first had our meeting, our first task was writing down everything we wanted to accomplish by the presentation. And every week during our meetings, we'd list the tasks that we wanted to accomplish by the next week. And this really helped make sure that we were on time, that we both had this shared vision and everything we were doing was productive and towards the end goal, and we weren't doing anything irrelevant. Something else was work ethic, which I learned so much from my mentor, Ira, and I'm so thankful for that. Some of the challenges that I had was learning how to integrate my own code within a template without breaking the template's original code. So since this website originally made with templates, it was linked to a lot of like obscure, I guess, JavaScript files. And so I didn't know what was interfering with my code, if I could remove it, what would break. And so learning which ones to keep and remove was kind of a challenge. Another challenge was making the modular website. The way that I did that was by passing the JavaScript variables to the HTML page, having that HTML page read that, and then changing the contents accordingly. I didn't know how to do this at first. So I eventually learned that appending a query string to the end of a URL and then having a script tag within the HTML page read that and then change the contents accordingly was the fastest and most efficient way to do it. So this is the image carousel on the home page. There are 2 ways to navigate, using left and right arrow keys and the button at the bottom. And this really spotlights and highlights. This is the all projects page, and this is the individual mentee project page. And it gives mentee information, an automated image carousel, mentee mentor reflections, sample code, interview, and a footer that links to Magic's social media. This is all one file, project template.html. And the way that it's getting its contents is like it rotates, if you will, depending on which mentee the user wants to look at. And it's done through a series of arrays. And these are the same arrays that are linked to the image carousel as well as the all projects page. And to add a new mentee, all you have to do is add their information to the end of the arrays. Now, this is a login form if a mentee wants to upload their own project. So once they reach here, they're going to have to enter their name and their information so PHP knows how to make the directories. And there's many fail-safes put into place to ensure that mentees advance unless they filled out all of the appropriate fields. In this case, I am uploading a past mentee project under a false name, Courtney Smith, and it's a website. But if you wanted to upload a hardware or an app, then 2 new questions would pop up at the bottom of the form, and it would ask you to submit a screen recording describing your project or a video, and PHP would dynamically create a new web page with that information. There are pop-ups also throughout the form in case mentees need clarification on what exactly is being asked for them to upload, or if they need some help, sample code, or any of that sort. Right now, they're uploading code files and images. And after they press submit, PHP creates new directories. And in this case, we're using the local server, so it's on my local computer. And as you can see, the images are uploaded and it's all renamed to match the same naming structure that is with all the mentees. And after all this information is added to the end of the appropriate arrays, and you go back to the home page, you can see that Courtney's project is now added on the All Projects page. And she also has her own contents on the modular website. Thank you so much to everyone at Magic. I truly feel like I learned so much and I'm so appreciative of having this opportunity.